So everywhere I go, people are always asking how I tuned my bike with the SC Project exhaust. So today I decided I would go ahead and share my experience with Bren Tuning with you guys on the Panigale V4. So Bren Tuning, let's talk about it. This little guy that cost over $1,000. So what's in this little guy? This little guy actually offers a lot of tuning capability for you as a user. Now, I want to first go back before we get into Bren Tuning and how easy it is and talk about my experience with Bren Tuning. When I first bought my Bren Tuner software, I bought it back on a Black Friday special, and it was like $800 or something along those lines, and I had to jump on it. I already had the SC Project exhaust, so I was like, all right, let's do this so that come spring, we can do this. So I got on their website, I ordered it, and then I made the mistake of then reading the frequently asked questions or how everything kind of works, and I found out that after receiving your tuner within 14 days, they want you to pull your stock map. Really simple process, but the problem is I live in a place that it's negative 30 degrees in the wintertime, and I had my bike in a friend's house in storage, so it was kind of one of those things I got a little concerned about it. So I ended up waiting a couple days and never heard anything from Bren Tuning. So then some time went on, and I think it ended up being honestly probably 3 or 4 weeks before I finally heard something from Bren Tuning. And actually I didn't hear anything. I wrote them an email kind of asking where my order was. I had already paid for it. It had been, like I said, 3 weeks to a month, nothing. So I wrote them an email, and it turns out that when I ordered it, it was kind of that Black Friday special going on. It overloaded their system. Somehow my order got lost in their system. So a normal person would probably be pretty upset with this, but I was actually pretty excited because I couldn't work on my bike right now. So the delayed process actually worked out, and Bren Tuning as a company is incredible. To make it up for me, they went ahead and overnighted my flash, my programmer, and they also threw in a Bren Tuning hoodie and apologized, and everything was great. So I received my Bren Tune and then started working on the bike, and it got the exhaust done. Unfortunately, I didn't make a video because I had so many parts going on the bike. I just rushed it. I wanted to get it done, which I really apologize about that, guys. I would have loved to have gotten the video for all that stuff that I did do. So I get the exhaust on. I do my Bren Tune flash, which is very simple. I'd already pulled my factory flash, sent it to them, told them my modifications that I was planning on doing. They had already wrote me 3 different files or 4. And like I said, they were really great with the communication and everything. So I flashed my bike, and it starts right up. I'm so excited. I got the Ducati Racing Pro on the screen. I'm just so excited. The bike sounds incredible. And then all of a sudden, I notice that I have the generic check engine light flashing, and my traction control, my wheelie control, my slide control are all flashing as well. And of course, I'm going, what did you do? So I write Bren Tuning an email, and now let me remind you, at this point, the pandemic is just starting to hit, so everything's taking a lot longer to happen. So I would tell them what's going on. They tell me to try a couple different things. I try a couple different things. Nothing's fixing it. So this process goes on to, I write them an email. They look at the files. They tell me to try something. I try something. Nothing fixes it. So I'm starting to hit that, oh crap, did I screw up my bike? So I'm looking on forums, I'm talking to friends, I'm starting to look at even a new ECU to go back to stock to figure out what happened. And ultimately, Bren Tuning was able to rewrite a program or a new flash that worked, and the bike ended up being perfect after that, and no problem since. And like I said, I think I had over 34 emails back and forth all over the matter of a week or two. And like I said, the customer service was outstanding. Bren Tuning really did a great job of trying to help me figure out what happened, where it went wrong, and how to fix it. So with that being said, let's talk about what's inside the box. So once you get your Bren Tuning, and it's going to show up in a box like this, it is not going to say what bike it's actually for on the box. But when you open up your box, you have your handheld, and then once you get into the box a little bit more on the bottom, you have a couple different wires. So you have this wire, which actually plugs into the bike to the handheld, and then they send you a USB type cable to plug into your laptop to download and get all your files and do everything the way you need it. And then they also give you a frequently asked questions kind of how-to sheet, and just a couple little quick setup instructions and everything else. So Bren Tuning, I already made another video over, and it's very easy to use. You know, as long as you don't have the problems like I did, it's a real simple plug and play, you know, a few emails back and forth, and that's it. So who is Bren Tuning for? Bren Tuning, in my opinion, is going to be for someone who does aftermarket parts to their bike where they might need a dyno tune, a flash, something along those lines. Now, with Ducati in particular, there's not a whole lot of tuning options out there. You do have Bren Tuning, you have Tune Boy, which is just coming out. Woolwich is in the process of making or their software, but it isn't quite out yet. No one knows the release on it. And then you have a dyno tune. So for me, I feel that Bren Tuning is going to be for someone who maybe doesn't have access to a dyno shop and also is wanting to customize their bike. So with that, Bren Tuning was perfect for me because the nearest dyno shop is 5 hours away, and at the time it was winter time. I'm trying to get my bike together, so it's really nice to have something as simple as this that I could plug in my bike and I could do it myself. Bren Tuning would not be for someone probably who lives in a city and has the ability to go get dyno tuned and be able to truly see their air fuel ratios and everything else. So the pros and cons of Bren Tuning would be, the pro would be how simple it is. You know, like I said, you just plug it in, it flashes, within 5-10 minutes, you're completely done. You're ready to go back on the road. And they also will build in a flash for if you're running race fuel, whatever octane you're running, whatever modifications. And let's say you decided to change all that. So my bike is a street bike 90% of the time and then 10% on the track. So if I decided to turn it into a full track bike, all I'd have to do is make the fuel connection adapter and I can run MR12 race fuel. If I wanted to change something else, I could pay Bren Tuning $99 and they will send me a new flash based off of whatever I'm wanting it to be. So that is one of the pros. The con, and probably the biggest con with Bren Tuning, is unlike other software, you can actually access and see your air fuel ratios. You can adjust your quick shifter timing. You have the ability to make the modifications yourself and see what it's actually doing. You could see your tables, your charts, which can get overwhelming for people if you don't know what you're looking at. But if you are wanting to know that, it would be nice to have that. Bren Tuning is what is called a canned file, where you have no control over it. You don't know really what it's doing with your bike or not doing with your bike other than what you feel. So in that sense, you really don't have any control over that, which is kind of bad in the sense that if you did have a lean spot, you would never know it unless you're riding the bike and you felt it. So after the Brentune, I always get asked, was it immediately noticeable? And for me, yes, but I did a lot of stuff to the bike. I did the cat delete, I did a SE slip-on, I did a sprint filter. So for me, when I took the bike out for the first time, it was extremely fast. But once I got past all that and got more comfortable on the bike, I started to notice the things that Bren Tuning did do. So if you've ever owned a Ducati, especially in the Panigales, even the old V twins or L twins, the throttle, you have this choppiness below 4,000 RPM to where the bike lunges, it lurches, it's kind of a dog and it hates to be that low. And Bren Tuning really smoothed that out to where it's not chopping and throttle control still there, and it's much smoother. Still not perfect, but it is far better than what came from stock. The other thing you notice is that your throttle control is there. The bikes come restricted from the factory, pretty significant, up to I think around 8,000 RPM for emissions in the United States. So you're not getting 100% throttle when you're at 100% below 8,000 RPM, and it tapers up as you go up your RPM range. Now, Bren Tuning actually de-restricts the bike to where when you go 100% throttle, you're getting 100% throttle. Now, that is a big difference when you've rode the bike stock for so long to all of a sudden you get in that throttle and the front wheel wants to lift and Ducati's rider aids all come in and take control. So Bren Tuning does a great job with that. The other thing that they do is a lot of these bikes get these flat spots around 7,000 RPM, especially when you do an aftermarket exhaust. I've heard and read about people with the Terminoni T800 up kit getting these flat spots at like a cruising speed. And I know even on my stock bike, I kind of used to feel like it would almost like have all this power and then it'd be a little flat and then it would go back up. And Bren Tuning made that smoothed out all the way through. So you feel more torque all the way through. You don't have that flat spot, which is incredible to have, especially on a bike like this. The other thing is that you get full potential on the top RPM band. A lot of bikes, when you start hitting that higher RPM, you'll start noticing it feels like it's flattening out, and this bike pulls all the way to its red line. So the ultimate question is Bren Tuning worth the $1,000 or $1,200 or whatever they're charging for it at this point? And my response to that would be yes and no. Again, as I had already talked about, a lot of the decisions have variables. And for me, living somewhere where I don't have access to a dyno, I don't see any other real options for tuning the bike to make it the way it should be on the market right now. And the fact that it's something that is so user-friendly and that anyone can pretty much do and be able to tune their bike the way that they would like their bike to be. So Bren Tuning is definitely worth the price that I paid in my eyes, even with the issues I had, because they took care of me. So I hope this video helped you guys understand more about Bren Tuning and some of the obstacles or options you need to weigh with Bren Tuning. This was not sponsored by Bren Tuning by any means, and if you like the video, guys, please go ahead and give it a like, give a subscription, and let me know if there's other videos that you're interested in.